I've made beaded dancers and I've made sun-catchers. Today I combine them both for spectacular sparkle. Hi, this is Tweek. Let's make this little dancer. Here we go. We begin by taking her apart. One of the easiest ways I can show you how I made it is to dismantle her. I've got a hook. You can see all the pieces when I lay them out. And I'm going to just very gently start pulling apart. I got this idea. I love making sun-catchers. And a lot of the times the projects I dream up or come up with start with a singular bead. And that happened this time as well. Two legs. There are the pieces of the little Suncatcher dancer. Isn't she adorable? Even apart, it was this bead here. A silver bead with an empty space. And I filled that space with a heart bead. A bead within a bead. So let me show you how I put her together. We begin with the legs. I'm going to take apart one of her legs. I'm going to break your leg, girl, sorry. And that way I can show you how I... Ooh, there goes the end. Okay, so a leg consists of a few little tiny 2mm beads. So let me put her together. Got a 4-inch pin. It's a head pin. And I put the little teardrop bead going down. Let me show you. I want that to look like the tip of a foot when she's dancing. And then take another bicone bead, and this just represents the heel or the cuff of the foot. And then I'm going to put a tiny little cap bead on there. There's her foot. Now we're going to fill this up with, I think, 12 beads. These are 2mm beads. I had a lot of fun making other little dancers of different color beads. 12 beads, that's her leg. And we need 2 of those. What I'm going to do here is pull off about 1 inch of what's left of the 4-inch pin. I'm just going to cut that off. Then I'm going to take my tool and I'm just going to curl. I don't want this to be real big. Curl it around. There we go. I have a leg. And we're going to take our bead along wire, and I want about 22 inches or so of this. I wanted it twice. Okay, and what I'm going to do is put the legs on first. So a leg goes on. Between each leg, I want a little bead, same size as I used on her legs, just to keep the legs just a little bit apart. So a leg, a bead, and a leg. And there's what you have. 2 little legs with a bead between. The bead between gives them a little more motion when she gets going. Now I'm going to take a cap bead as a little bigger, a little more of a cap to it. And I'm going to push both wires into this bead, and that is going to hide her legs a little bit. Oh, look at how she immediately does a split. Okay. So this bead just holds everything in place. Let me show you. Get it down there. And it also keeps her legs from going through. There we go. Keep that bead between the 2 legs. Put the cap bead there. Okay. And that keeps her little skirt, which is a half cluster. Now we have a lot of different videos on how to make the clusters. Half cluster takes 20 beads. So you can click on the link to see how that's done. This bead is a little bit bigger. I want a little bit bigger because it's going to fit over the legs. The bead cap's going to stop the legs from pulling through that space. And now we have legs and a skirt. She's already ready to dance. I'm going to put this bead cap on. Yes, okay. Bead cap, that acts as just like the top of her skirt. It's just a little decorative piece. Brings the wire together, and now I'm going to add another decorative piece, one of these beautiful little rondelle beads, and that is going to act sort of like as her waist. Isn't it pretty how she's coming together already? It's like there's movement there, even she's not even all put together. And now we come to the bead that I really like, this heart bead. So I'm going to push the 2 wires through that bead, and then I'm going to add another bead in the center. Okay, the heart bead. And then we push back up through the top of that heart. Make sure both wires are coming through. And that's her torso. I love the hearts, but look at that. Isn't that pretty? Now if I hold this here, just give it a little twirl. You can just see her starting to move. She's not even hooked all together. Next come her arms. This is another 4-inch head pin. I need all 4 inches for this one because both sides of her arms are going to be represented by this one pin. Okay, I'm going to break your arms now, girl. Sorry. Let's come down here. I don't mess up any of the beads. Okay. Well, I'm just going to snap that too. Let me show you how I do it. I'm sure you know how to do it. Okay. All right. And that little pin, or that little bead doesn't want to come off there. Okay, here we go. So we start with a 4-inch pin. What do you do with it? There it is. We start off with a 4-inch pin. And then we're going to take another teardrop bead. Unlike the foot where I want the teardrop to be going down, this one is a hand, represents a hand, so I want it to go with the small section towards the wrist. Right, so I take this bead cap and we're going to put it so it acts like a little cuff and a little hand. My interpretation there. And then I want a little bit of bling. Where did that cute little bead go? Here it is. Another one of these rhinestone beads. I think that adds a real nice little cuff. And I want 8 or 9 beads. These are the same size 2mm beads that I used on her legs. I'm going to go with 8 beads. 9 beads seem a little long to me as far as her little arms go. Okay, so that's one of her arms. I'll put it down here to see. I think the ratio with her legs looks nice. See? An arm. Now, we're going to take our tool, curling tool. So I've got the tool really close, and I'm just going to pull the wire down and around. Just once. Let me put that back in there. I don't want to make a lot of curls because I want the extra space for the other side of her arm. Now, we backtrack. So we go back with the 8 little beads. So we're there. We have this much left to play with. So let's see, we had one of these pretty rhinestone. There's the rest of her hand from the other side, okay. And now we've got that last little teardrop bead, and I've got this much left to play with. So I'm going to snip off, oh geez, I want to snip off about half of that. Okay, trying to keep these guys in line. Okay, and then I'm just going to very gently pull that piece down against the bead. Might be an easier way to do that, but this is the way I do it. Pull that piece down to keep everything on her arm. I want to get as close as I can. You won't notice it when she starts dancing. Okay, now I'm going to add this here. So I'm going to put this 2 wires through that little hole. And now they're going to rest. They look a little cockeyed right now, but they're going to rest on her heart body there. And I'm going to take another cap bead, round one, and they're nice and malleable so I can bend it. So get the wires through that, bring it down and let it rest. Okay. And then I'm going to press it or curl it over her hands. So just like, I'm just going to line up her little neck. There we go. And then press. So I'm pulling tight on the wire and I'm pressing. It almost looks like a collar, but it helps to hide a little bit of where her arms are, and it also gives her a little more movement. Isn't that funny? For being all wired up, she's quite a good little mover. Now I would like another piece to act more as a collar, just to dress her up a little bit. So I'm putting another cap bead. It's a little bit different. You can play around with the cap beads you've got, and that defines her neck a little bit better. What are you doing? You're already dancing. She needs a head. Here comes the head. The head is just a bigger bead. I think this is an 8mm bead, but you want a head that complements the size of her body. So there we have a head. Isn't this funny? It's almost like she has a personality, and it's the movement. It's the way her little body moves. And then to dress that up, I'm going to put another cap bead. This one I think kind of represents hair, but she doesn't really need hair, but I'm going to put that cap bead down. You can see how she changes a little bit. I'm using silvers today. You could really mix up the colors if you want silvers, golds, coppers. That would all be fine. Now another bigger rhinestone bead. This is kind of acting like a cap or a crown. Almost done, girl. And now I want to hold that in place. I'm going to use another of these little cap beads that I used on her feet and her hand. Only this time I'm going to place it up. So it's cupping up on the bead. It's going to lie there and lie in that little spot in the top of the rhinestone bead. And now I'm going to put one bicone bead. She really could be done right now. I wanted to make a really fun sun catcher with her friends. So here's what I did. I used all this wire and I started decorating with. I'm just going to use the same beads. Let's see, I'm going to use, I think, 9 of them. You can mix up the beads. They don't have to be all one kind. I'm going to add one more because one is technically for her hat. There's 10 beads. Now I wanted to add a little bit of a distinction, or a little bit of a more decoration there to highlight this heart bead again. I just love these heart beads. The heart bead runs the theme through this whole sun catcher. Okay, we got the heart going through, and this time instead of another heart, I'm just going to use another bicone bead. Let's push that through. Come on, there we go. So I'm just dressing it up a little bit, see? Let's see what we got here. What's that? Okay, one more bead here. Let's keep beading her up. And then I just did 3 graduated beads of various size, up the size, and came up to another teardrop. We'll see if we like it. Oh my, wait till you see this go in the sun. I'm going to put one more bead here to help the crimp bead. Okay, I got way too much wire here for this part, and we need a crimp bead. A little one sitting there by itself. I will use it. Get both wires through the crimp bead. Okay, let it rest on the top bead. Now I want to put a hook there. I will use the excess. I used way too much, didn't I? So I'm going to take off the excess. And I'm going to push that wire back in through the crimp bead, back through the bicone bead, back through the teardrop bead, as far as I can get it. So I'm pulling to make it taut. Make sure the bead is resting on the others, crimp bead, and I'm going to push down. There we go. Try to make that nice and even. I want a nice hook there. I don't want it too big. A nice little place to hang her. I think that looks good. And now I'm going to crimp that bead. I need a hook. I've got a hook here. Love this hook. You can just slide it right in there like a crab claw. Okay, watch this. See, just a little bit tiny. And when the wind catches her and she moves more, I just love it. You can position her arms differently. So you want to put them up. You want to put one leg out, or maybe you want her to have a little more of a jumping motion. Isn't that pretty? But the whole purpose of doing this was I wanted to make Suncatcher. So guess what? You've got friends. And I made a bunch of them. The same combination of beads, just different colors. So if I'm going to make all these dancers, and I'm going to make a Suncatcher, we need a Suncatcher holder. And here's what we came up with. Isn't that pretty? Similar in design to what we've made in the past. What we're going to start with is I made a center. This is just one long string that features all those little heart beads that I like so much. And we're going to bring this up through the center. I've got a hook here that holds the main down the middle Suncatcher. And I'm going to use these little chains here. They're all the same length. And I'm just going to let them sit like that. So when I pull this up, you're going to have the one lead hanging down. That's the longest part. Now let me hook this up here. Okay. Let's see how that hangs. Pretty all on its own, huh? I want dancers. So I've got 2 levels here. And on the outside level is where I'm going to hang the dancers. Not doing it in any particular order. I'm just going to grab one. You guys ready to dance? They already are. Just going to find a spot and put one up. It's my own bumbliness here. It's making a move. Where do you want to be, Blue? You want to be next to this one. Come on. Getting pretty crazy, huh? The different dancers here are all represented. Their hearts are all represented in the center. Here comes a lavender or violet. Let's put you over here. And what do we got left? We've got a pink. Well, yeah, you gotta have pink. Put you over here. And we've got, this one's like a creamy beige or a tan. Now that's pretty. I'm not done yet, but watch what happens when we move this. They come in and out. I just love the idea that they're dancing with each other. I don't know how crazy the wind will get with you, but they really come in and out. Oh goodness, that could be it, but of course I had to do more. I used some more of the heart beads, and I made one little more spot here, one more little thing to add. And I went and found the color. So I'm hanging the pink one near the pink. And I'll put the green one near the green. See these little hooks here on the inner side? And look at how we're adding some dimension. Where did the blue go? Right there. Okay. This one is the pretty cream color. Oh, well, that's the other thing. I'm going to have to crimp all these down so that they don't fall off, especially if there's going to be some wind involved. We've got, oh, I want to put her down there, but... Okay, here comes a blue. Pretty crazy, huh? I happen to think I love the design. I love the colors. I just put a little teardrop bead on the end of these inside sun catchers. Okay, who do we have left? We have a light green. Okay, that's pretty. Very, very gemstone colors, aren't they? Here's a purple. And here's a red. So what I'm just doing is just putting the colors near. You don't have to, but I'm just trying to get the colors near to each other. I think it looks a little better when it's hanging. And then yellow. Where's yellow? We got one more hook left. So I'll have to crimp all these hooks now that we have it together. Oh my, it's a kaleidoscope. So they are flying, and I am loving them. See you again. If you enjoyed this video, here's another you may like. And here's a playlist of other projects that you might enjoy.